Happy day, students. Today I am going to deal with 12th standard English, Unit 5, Poem 5, A Father to His Son, written by Carl August Sandburg, Part 2. Dear students, please turn to page 162. Already we have seen 33 lines. Now we shall move on to 34th line. Tell him to be different from other people if it comes natural and easy being different. So he says he should be different from other people if that is his nature. He should not be one among the people. He should be unique, should be special and different from others if that is what makes him happy. Now 36 and 37 line you see. Let him have lazy days, seeking his deeper motives. Let him seek deep from where he is born, natural. So, lazy days he is saying. The son may need lazy days. That means he needs to take rest. To find his inborn capacities and abilities, he needs some rest also. And to seek what he is born for. So, the inborn talents must be brought out, means he needs to take rest, to be alone. Moving on to see line 38. Then he may understand Shakespeare and the Wright brothers, Pasteur, Pavlov, Michael Faraday, and free imaginations bringing changes into a world resenting change. See, surely then he will understand how the works of Shakespeare, the Wright brothers, Pasteur, Pavlov, Michael Faraday, and free imaginations brought changes into the world which dislikes changes. You know what Wright brothers have done? They have invented the aeroplane. Pasteur, you know, he only found out the pasteurization of milk. Pavlov is a psychologist, okay. So we have seen, see, scientist Pasteur and psychologist Pavlov, okay. Michael Faraday, physicist, who found out electromagnetic induction, and with all this he will be able to think creatively, free imaginations, so that he can change the world. This world dislikes changes. You can see in the screen about Shakespeare first, an English poet, playwright and actor widely regarded as the greatest writer in the English language and the world's greatest dramatist. Next you see American aviation pioneers, the Wright brothers, okay, generally credited with inventing, building and flying the world's first successful airplane. Next you see the French biologist, microbiologist and chemist, renowned for his discoveries of the principles of vaccination, microbial fermentation and pasteurization, that is Louis Pasteur. Next you see Pavlov. He is the Russian physiologist known primarily for his work in classical conditioning by using dogs. Michael Faraday's main discoveries include the principles underlying electromagnetic induction, diamagnetism and electrolysis. Now we shall see the last 3 lines. He will be lonely enough to have time for the work he knows as his own. So during such resentment means what? Disliking. Let him know that it is time for him to be on his own and work to achieve like others to change the world. So dear students, I have explained the poem line by line. Hope you have understood. Now we shall move on to the book back exercises. Dear students, turn to page 163. We can see the fill in the blanks, choosing the words from the box given and complete the summary of the poem. Lines 1 to 25, you see, the poet Carl Sandburg gives a vivid description of a father's worldly wisdom in directing a son who is at the threshold of his manhood. Here the father motivates his son to be like a hard rock and withstand life's challenges and sudden betrayals. Life is like a fertile soil. We can make our life fruitful if we are gentle and take life as it comes. At times, gentleness overtakes harshness. The growth of a tender flower can split a rock. One should have a deep desire and strong will to achieve. Greed for money has left men dead before they really die. Good men also have fallen prey in quest for easy money. Time for leisure is not a waste. When you seek knowledge, never feel ashamed to be called a fool for not knowing. At the same time, learn from your mistakes and never repeat it. Moving on to lines 26 to 44. Do introspect often and do not hesitate to accept your shortcomings. Avoid white lies to protect self against other people. Solitude helps to be creative and final decisions are taken in silent rooms. Instead of being one among many, be different if that is your nature. The sun may need lazy days to find his inherent abilities to seek what he is born for. He will then know how free imaginations bring changes to the world which resents change. During such resentment, let him know that it is time for him to be on his own and work to achieve like Shakespeare, the Wright brothers, Pasteur, Pavlov and Michael Faraday. Moving on to next. Based on your understanding of the poem, answer the following questions in 1 or 2 sentences. Question A. How would the poet's advice help his son who is at the threshold of the manhood? Answer. The poet's advice would help his son face life's challenges and sudden betrayals confidently. Question B. A tough will counts. Explain. Answer. One should have a deep desire and strong willpower to achieve. Question C. What happened to the people who wanted too much money? Answer. You see, the people who wanted too much money were dead years before their burial. Moving on to question D. What has twisted good men into thwarted worms? Answer. The search for more in a dishonorable way has twisted good men into thwarted, that means frustrated worms. Question E. How would his being alone help the boy? Being alone will help him to be creative and make final decisions. Question F. Where are the final decisions taken? Answer. The final decisions are taken in silent rooms. Question G. What are the poet's thoughts on being different? The poet says that instead of being one among many, his son should be different if it is easy and natural. Question H. Why does the poet advise his son to have lazy days? The son may need lazy days to seek his deeper motives and find his inherent talents. Question I. The poet says, without rich wanting, nothing arrives, but he condemns the quest of lucre beyond a few easy needs. Analyze the difference and write. One should earn money honestly. He should be satisfied with sufficient money to lead his life. Without the desire for earning money, one cannot satisfy one's basic needs. But the search for money dishonestly should be discouraged. One should not accumulate money beyond essential needs. Read the lines given below and answer the questions that follow. Question A. Life is hard. Be still. Be a rock. Question 1, you see, how should one face life? One should face life by being like a rock. Second one, identify the figure of speech in the above line. It is metaphor. Question B, life is a soft loam. Be gentle, go easy, and this too might serve him. Question 1, why does the poet suggest to take life easy? Life is like a fertile soil. We can make our life fruitful by being gentle and taking life easy. Second one, identify the figure of speech in the above line. It is metaphor. C, tell him solitude is creative if he is strong and the final decisions are made in silent rooms. First question, can being in solitude help a strong human being? How? Yes, being in solitude helps a strong human being to introspect and make final decisions. Second one, identify the figure of speech in the above line. It is transferred epithet. Question D. Tell him time as a stuff can be wasted. Tell him to be a fool every so often. First one, why does the poet suggest that time can be wasted? Time can be wasted for leisure. Second one, identify the figure of speech in the above line. It is repetition. E. Tell him to be a fool ever so often and to have no shame over having been a fool, yet learning something out of every folly, hoping to repeat none of the cheap follies. First question, is it a shame to be a fool at times? No, it is not a shame to be a fool at times, but follies should not be repeated. Second question, what does one learn from every folly? One learns some lessons from every folly and hopes not to repeat any one of the follies. Question F. Free imaginations bringing changes into a world resenting change. First question, how does free imagination help the world? Free imagination helps the world by introducing changes. Identify the figure of speech. It is transferred epithet. Question G. Pick out the alliterated words from the poem and write. And this might stand him for the storms. Stand storms. You will have to underline. Yes, yes. Now turn to page 166 and let's see fifth question, that is ERC. Explain the following lines with reference to the context. Question A. And guide him among sudden betrayals and tighten him for slack moments. Reference. These lines are taken from the poem A Father to His Son written by Carl August Sandburg. Context. This is the beginning of the advice given by a father to his son. Explanation. The poet wants to direct his son who is reaching manhood. He motivates his son to be like a hard rock. He can face life's challenges and untoward breach of trust by being firmly resolved. Slack moments refers to a state of depression. Moving on to B. Brutes have been gentled where lashes fail. So reference, context. This line comes when the poet wants to say that life is sometimes soft and we may need to be gentle. Explanation. The poet motivates his son reaching manhood to be steely resolved. This will make him face the challenges of life and sudden betrayals. At times, gentleness overtakes harshness. Thrashing may fail to change a man, but a gentle approach will make a brute good-natured. Moving on to C. Yet learning something out of every folly, hoping to repeat none of the cheap follies. Reference, context. In the course of giving advice to his son, the father utters these words. Explanation. The poet directs his son who is reaching manhood to be a successful person. From his experience, he advises his son to be careful in certain areas. Here he says, making mistakes is not something to feel ashamed of. We can learn many things from our mistakes, but we should be careful not to repeat the mistake. Coming to the last one, he will be lonely enough to have time for the work. So reference, context I will say. The poet wants to say that being in solitude, his son will make some changes. Explanation, the poet wants his son to know how free imaginations bring changes to the world which resents change. During such resentment, he will know that it is time for him to be his own and try to achieve like great people. So dear students, hope you have understood the whole poem and I shall take the poetic device in the next part. With this, I wind up the class. Thank you.